in third person. So I'm going to ask for a volunteer.
Oh,
Would you like to
for you?
Absolutely.
Alexandra Goodwin was born in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and moved to the United States following the military coup of the 1970s in her country. She is a full-time business owner, but manages to find time to pursue her writing career. She writes in English and Spanish, has published short stories, personal essays, and poems in Dare to Be Authentic, Volume 1, The Light Between Us, Love, Life, Laughter, and the Miami Herald. And something.diagonales.com.
What does it say? That's a Spanish magazine. Cita en las diagonales.com. It's an online Spanish.
Alexandra
magazine.
is a member of the NLAPW, Boca Raton branch, that's the National League of American Penwomen, and the Women's National Book Association. She has participated in several poetry festivals in Spanish. She is now at work on a new novel in Spanish and the author of Whispers of the Soul, an illustrated book of poetry. Her first novel, Exchange at the Border, a finalist in the 2016 CIPA EVVY Awards, is a thrilling account of an illegal border crossing and the resulting chain of events that follow for the protagonist as he becomes embroiled in an inner struggle between good and evil. Alexandra Goodwin.
Thank you, Carol, and thank you everybody for coming here. I'm very happy to present my book today. It's one of three, and once you start writing, you don't realize how far you can go, because creativity, I always worried about what am I going to write about, and if I write about this, it's done. No, it's a well. Creativity is an endless well. Once you start, you can't finish. You keep going. This is my first novel, Exchange at the Border. Does anybody know who these people are?
Looks like Rasputin.
Yes, Rasputin, that's right. And Rasputin, would you like to tell us a short sentence or two about Rasputin, who he was?
Yeah, he was the counsel to the Russian right. He supposedly saved, and which she believed they had 4 daughters and 1 son who was a hemophiliac. And like all hemophiliacs, they go through periods of when they start bleeding. And he sort of was like a priest counsel to the family, and supposedly he prayed over him, and the kids stopped bleeding, which they usually do anyway. So Serena took it upon that he is the one that's a savior, and he became very evil. He influenced her a lot about, that's why the revolution came about. He was just an evil person, and everything was for his own good. He was a womanizer. He was just
right.
bad,
yes,
devil.
He was, and he's also referred to as the saint who sinned.
Mm-hmm.
And I am fascinated by Russian history. I don't know why. I don't have a drop of Russian in my blood. But I was always interested in this. And I started reading about it, doing research, and the more I read, the more I wanted to know. So I found out that history really remembers Rasputin as somebody evil. However, through my research, I found out that there was a lot of good that he did, a lot of good things, and it's not well known. So I decided to, I was thinking and pondering, and then I said, what if he could come back and show that the good things that he did, show the world and make the world remember him, not as an evil man, which he was, but also as a person who helped, not only healing very sick people, but he helped people with money. He became very wealthy, and he was just very generous with his money. He would give it away. He died poisoned, but his family died penniless. So, but he became very wealthy. He also produced visas, exit visas for the Jewish people in Russia. At the time they wanted to leave Russia, and they couldn't. The Tsar and the Tsarina wouldn't give them the permission to leave Russia. He facilitated that, and I thought that that was a very nice thing for him to have done. It's all recorded history. However, my imagination took off, and I just could not catch up with it anymore. And I started filling up notebooks with notes about the research that I did about the family and Rasputin and everything. And at the same time, I was visited by scenes in my mind of a composite of several people that I have met in real life. These people have crossed the border illegally from Mexico. I had the privilege of knowing them and of talking to them. Their account, they have told me about how that crossing was, and I was so interested in their story. So this image formed in my head or in my mind about a person who had to cross the border illegally, and he is a composite of the many people that I have known in my life. And I figured that what would happen once he crosses the border? Will he be apprehended? Will the immigration come and catch him? What's going to happen to him? But I didn't have to worry about that. I really didn't have to worry about what's going to happen to him or to anybody, because the story took off. The characters completely took over, and they started writing the story on their own. I had also notebooks with images that were disconnected in between them, and about him crossing the border, doing many things, and I didn't know what to do with them, so I asked my mom. My mother says connect the dots. So I connected the dots, not just of those images, but the images with Rasputin, and that's what came up. The 5 plots merge in one at the end, and it's a very interesting story. It has it has supernatural elements. It has history, but it also has a lot of fiction, and a lot of imagination. People that read it have told me how I thought about it, and I really didn't have to think about it. The book wrote itself. So to me, I had a lot of fun writing it. It took me 5 years to write it. First of all, because English is not my language, and even though I did a lot of workshops and took a lot of courses, and I really had to take my time to write and rewrite and edit, it was more how to write, how to structure everything with so many plots around. How do they connect themselves? How do they come together, and why? So I had a lot of fun during that journey. I wrote it under my mango tree, and I hope that if you, it's very nice. And if you get to read it, then you're gonna have a good time too. I also wrote, I'm not presenting these books, but I wrote a poetry book with photographs of my backyard and things that have inspired me. And my latest book is a book of haiku poems, also written in English. And because I like to put an image to my words, I thought about illustrating the book, but I couldn't. I cannot, maybe I can do a circle with 2 legs, but that's about it. So I had to hire an illustrator, and I sent her 1 haiku, which was very, very difficult to illustrate. I said, if she can illustrate this haiku, I will hire her. I interviewed 5 of them, 5 illustrators. Only she was the only one who could actually capture the essence of that haiku and put it in a drawing. And the book is illustrated so that children and adults can color. So it's a spiritual and therapeutic practice. So that's about it for my books, and I thank you very much for coming today.